Unit 5, Lesson 2, Rates. Section 1, Rate. A relationship by division of two quantities that have different units. That is a rate. So, whereas with ratios, they had the same unit, so we were either comparing beads, but we had two different colors, or we were comparing ingredients, but we had different types of chips, or we were comparing cups of a drink, but we had two different flavors. In this case, a rate is different units. For instance, miles per hour. You would have miles and hour, and those are two different types of units. One is time and the other is distance. And then per, again, means divide. So Samantha picked 45 oranges in 5 minutes. Express this as a rate of oranges per minutes. That should be plural, minutes. So we have oranges per minutes. So we have oranges per minutes. We're going to write oranges per minutes. Make sure that you write your labels to identify what you're working with. So according to up here, it says Samantha picked 45 oranges. So our oranges would be 45. And it was in 5 minutes. So our minutes is 5. And there you have a rate. This is basically copying what they tell you and filling in the spaces. Our next tab is unit rate and unit cost or unit price. Notice that unit and unit is singular, so it means one. A rate that is simplified, that should be simplified, there we go, so that it has a denominator of 1. So this is a unit rate. Unit means 1, it's singular. Help Samantha create a unit rate to decide how many oranges are picked in 1 minute. So we want oranges per minute. So that's 1 singular minute. Up above we had 45 to 5, and we want it to be per 1 minute. So how do we make our 5 become a 1? We divide by 5. And what we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So we'll divide by 5, and we get 9. So our original definition of a rate says that it is a comparison by division. So you'll notice that here we divided by 5 and divided by 5. That's the same thing as dividing by 5. So this comparison is really common in using fraction lines because it's a comparison by division. The unit cost or unit price is the cost per 1 unit. So cost per unit, the cost will always go first. So if we have a 3-pound bag of oranges, is $3.12. What is the unit price? Well, the rate is the cost, which is $3.12. So that will go first. Per fraction line unit. And the unit is our 3 pounds. And then we want to simplify to find it the cost per 1 unit. So we make our 3 become a 1 by dividing by 3. And again, it's that relationship by division. Dividing by 3 here is the same as dividing by 3 here. But we're just setting it up proportionally. So what we do to the bottom, we do to the top. And we take our $3.12, divide by 3, and it is $1.04 per 1 unit, or per 1 pound of oranges. Our next tab, multi-step problem solving. The Australian dragonfly can travel 18 miles in 30 minutes. How far can the dragonfly travel in 1 minute? So first we need to set it up as a fraction. Our fraction is 18 miles per 30 minutes. Now, we're not going to travel minutes per mile. We're going to travel miles per minute. It's always distance over time. So now we need to find the greatest common factor. So with 18, we have 1 times 18, 2 times 19, 3 times 6, and we're done. For 30, we have 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, and 5 times 6. And their greatest common, and then we simplify, and their greatest common factor was 6. So 18 divided by 6 is 3, 30 divided by 6 is 5, so it can travel 3 miles in 5 minutes. Next, we can find our unit rate. So we're going to take our 3 to 5, and we want to divide by 5 to get per 1 minute. And in 1 minute, if we divide by 5, the dragonfly can fly 3/5 of a mile. Now, you've been taught that you cannot have fractions or decimals inside a numerator or denominator, but in this case, we do not have a real fraction. It is in fraction form. Finally, at a summer camp, the campers are divided into groups. Each group has 16 campers and 2 cabins. How many cabins are needed for 112 campers? First, we need to find the rate, and we need to label our rate first. Our rate will be campers per cabins. So they gave us that there are 16 campers for every 2 cabins. So it's 16 per 2 cabins. We need to first find the unit rate. So our 2 divided by 2 is 1, and then 16 divided by 2 is 8. So there can be 8 campers in 1 cabin. So now I need to solve for the question. The question is asking, how many cabins are needed for 112 campers? Well, I need to find out how many groups of 8 are in 112 campers. Well, if we have 8 campers and we want to turn it in 112, then we're going to have to multiply by 14. And when we multiply by 14, that gives us 112 campers. And what we do to the top, we do to the bottom. 1 times 14 is 14. So that means we would need 14 cabins for 112 campers.